Hello folks, today we are going to talk about schizophrenia. Hello friends, I am Henry and we are here with you today with another video from the Psychology channel. Schizophrenia is a serious mental disorder in which people interpret reality abnormally. Schizophrenia may result in some combination of hallucinations, delusions, and extremely disordered thinking and behavior that impairs daily functioning and can be disabling. If you know someone with schizophrenia, you probably want to know why they have it. The truth is, doctors don't know what causes this mental illness. Research shows it takes a combination of genetics and your environment to trigger the disease. What are the main causes of schizophrenia? Number 1. Genetics. One of the most significant risk factors for schizophrenia may be genes. This disorder tends to run in families. However, researchers don't believe a single gene is responsible for this disorder. Instead, they suspect a combination of genes can make someone more susceptible. Other factors such as stressors may be needed to trigger the disorder in people who are at a higher risk. Number 2. Structural changes in the brain. Scientists are looking at possible differences in brain structure and function in people with and without schizophrenia. In people with schizophrenia, they found that spaces in the brain, called ventricles, were larger. Parts of the brain that deal with memory, known as the medial temporal lobes, were smaller. There were fewer connections between brain cells. Number 3. Chemical changes in the brain. A series of complex interrelated chemicals in the brain called neurotransmitters are responsible for sending signals between brain cells. Low levels or imbalances of these chemicals are believed to play a role in the development of schizophrenia and other mental health conditions. Dopamine, in particular, seems to play a role in the development of schizophrenia. Researchers have found evidence that dopamine causes an overstimulation of the brain in people with schizophrenia. It may account for some of the symptoms of the condition. Glutamate is another chemical that's been linked to schizophrenia. Evidence has pointed toward its involvement. However, there are a number of limitations to this research. Number 4. Pregnancy and birth complications. Research has shown people who develop schizophrenia are more likely to have experienced complications before and during their birth, such as low birth weights, premature labor, a lack of oxygen during birth. It may be that these things have a subtle effect on brain development. Number 5. Triggers. Triggers are things that can cause schizophrenia to develop in people who are at risk. These include stress. The main psychological triggers of schizophrenia are stressful life events, such as bereavements, losing your job or home, divorce, the end of a relationship, physical, sexual, or emotional abuse. These kinds of experiences, although stressful, do not cause schizophrenia. However, they can trigger its development in someone already vulnerable to it. What are the main symptoms of schizophrenia? Positive symptoms of schizophrenia. Things that might start happening. Positive symptoms are highly exaggerated ideas, perceptions, or actions that show that the person can't tell what's real from what isn't. Here the word positive means the presence rather than absence of symptoms. These include, number 1, hallucinations. People with schizophrenia might hear, see, smell, or feel things that no one else does. Number 2, delusions. These are beliefs that seem strange to most people and are easy to prove wrong. The person affected might think someone is trying to control their brain through TVs or that the FBI is going to get them. They might believe they are somebody else, like a famous actor or the president, or that they have superpowers. Number 3, confused thoughts and disorganized speech. People with schizophrenia might have a hard time organizing their thoughts. They might not be able to follow along when you talk to them. Instead, it might seem like they're zoning out or distracted. Number 4, movement disorders. Some people with the schizophrenia can seem jumpy. Sometimes they'll make the same movements over and over again, but sometimes they might be perfectly still for hours. Contrary to popular belief, people with the disease usually aren't violent. Negative symptoms of schizophrenia. Things that might stop happening. Negative symptoms refer to an absence or lack of normal mental function involving thinking, behavior, and perception. You might notice lack of pleasure. The person may not seem to enjoy anything anymore. A doctor will call this anhedonia. Trouble with the speech. They might not talk much or show any feelings. Doctors call this alogia. Flattening. The person with the schizophrenia might seem like they have a terrible case of the blahs. When they talk, their voice can sound flat, like they have no emotions. Top 5 famous people with schizophrenia. Number 1, John Forbes. If you have liked the movie Beautiful Mind, you already know who we are talking about. He was diagnosed with schizophrenia disorder in 1959 and was often paranoid, over-imaginative, and unrealistic. Despite all the hardships and visits to the hospital for treatments, John ultimately won a Nobel Prize. Number 2, Syd Barrett. Syd Barrett was an English songwriter, guitarist, and artist, most notably the founder of the rock band Pink Floyd. Barrett was the lead singer, guitarist, and principal songwriter in the band's early years and is credited with naming the band. Barrett was excluded from the Pink Floyd in April 1968 after David Gilmour took over as their new frontman. Number 3, Edward Einstein. Second son of Albert Einstein, Edward was good in studies as well as gymnasium. Though he joined his medical classes to become a psychologist, he came in the list of famous people with a schizophrenia disorder at the age of 20. Number 4, Peter Green. This English songwriter and guitarist has blown our minds with Black Magic Woman, Man of the Word, and many other songs. Number 5, Darrell Hammond. Hammond is an American actor, stand-up comedian, and impressionist. Folks, thanks for being with us until the end of the video. If you like this video, please subscribe to our channel and support us with your likes and comments.